Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. One thing I've learnt in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. My guest on this episode is clinical psychologist, author, TV presenter Nigel Latta. Nigel has covered a wide range of topics in his many books and documentaries, everything from true crime to money to parenting. His latest project has left me completely paranoid. It's called You've Been Scammed, and Nigel joins me today with advice to help us all spot scams and scammers. Nigel, welcome in.
Hey, Paula.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm very good, thank you. 2 rules.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yep.
One is I'm allowed to ask you anything.
It's good.
But of course, you know you don't have to answer because no one likes
I'll always
science.
give the appearance of answering.
Yeah. And then I do know judgy, which you'd be easy with as well because being a psychologist, you couldn't go around judging people, could you?
Not really, not in your... You can in your free time, but not...
Yeah.
Not your day job.
Yeah, it's not normally the done thing, is it? Okay, quick fire questions to warm us up. Who would you invite to a dinner party?
Do you know what? He's dead, but Cormac McCarthy, even though he'd probably be a bit grumpy, and he's an author, he wrote this amazing book called The Road. I'd love to chat with him, but...
Why? Because of the big mind and the way he's just different?
And he'd probably be really disappointing because I think he would have been quite old and grumpy, but then I could have said, I dinner with Cormac McCarthy. Wasn't he dead? Yeah, but still came.
But hey, it was still something.
Yeah.
If you were cooking, what would you cook?
Oh, God.
You wouldn't cook?
I hate cooking.
Do you?
Yeah, I just do. Some people love it.
Yeah, I'm a lover.
If I was cooking, I'd be cooking, I don't know, eggs, like something super quick.
So it just doesn't do it for you?
No.
No. And so do you eat to sustain or do you eat to enjoy?
No, I like I do like nice food, but if I have to make it, it's toast and it's like eggs. And so, I'll cook, because you got to do that with kids. So I can do it.
How old are your kids now?
So my boy's 23 and 20, so they're a lot older.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying that I was trying to do the math on my daughter, who was born in 87. You see, because you stop counting at a certain point, don't you?
I do. I stopped having birthdays at 49.
Yeah.
No, I'm done. That's it. I'm not having those anymore.
So my baby is 37.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Okay, here we go. All right, we're going to talk about scams and give people advice. So that's going to be the biggest part of the podcast. But we spend the first little bits talking a bit about you. Yeah. So they can get to know you a bit.
Sure.
So why psychology?
So I grew up in Oamaru. And and Oamaru's cool now, but back in the day, not so much. And so I just thought there was more interesting stuff out. if there were two, that whole thing about there's two paths and one's the less travelled and the other one's like, if there was literally two paths and a dude and he was going, that one, it's asphalt, it's lit, there's a cafe at the end, it's nice. This other one, don't go down there. There is some really messed up stuff down there. I'm totally going down that one. Because it's like, well, why would you want to go to the nice one? Like, I've always kind of wanted to see that it just seems like the world's a big and interesting place. And so and psychology seemed like a natural kind of thing. I was interested in people and stuff. And so, I just headed off that
Are the children the most fun? I kind of love children, and then I see you were interacting with them, and they just, I don't know, there is just something beautiful about the innocence and the directness from them.
Kids are funny because, you can lie to them and you can say outrageous things, and so kids are quite good like that. The truth is just everyone's, I did work a lot with kids and teenagers and families and stuff, and what I liked about teenagers is they'll just tell you. Like, adults will very politely tell you to go for yourself.
Yeah.
Teenagers will just say, go for yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so I like that. Like, it just cuts down all the time.
Yeah, fascinating. And then, so did you think that you would progress from there into the TV presenter
No, it's a total,
So how did that happen then?
So I've always liked writing. Ever since, to be honest, when I was a kid, what I wanted to do was write books. And so, I've been doing that ever since I was And part of the psychology thing was, I want to learn some interesting things about people for kind of writing. And so I kind of did the psychology stuff and was kind of I did some fiction writing first and then some non-fiction writing, and that sort of turned into just as they do. I started doing a couple of media interviews, and then I remember one time Screen Time kind of rang up and said they were making this Beyond the Darklands, and I went, I don't know, I have some conditions. They went, sure. Yeah, and then we just kind of made that, and I thought it would just be a one-off. I just thought it'll just be a one-off, like this isn't a thing. And then it just sort of slowly turned into a thing, which is
So do you
strange.
enjoy being identified? Do you enjoy the fame of it in little old New
that's
Zealand?
the worst part of it. That's the worst part of it. I like the process of making television, and I like the people I work with, and I like the stuff that we get to do. Being on telly, like that in and of itself is kind of vacuous and empty and stupid. But it does mean that you kind of get access to stuff and you can do some things. So the public part of it I don't like at all. But I like the process of making it.
And you acknowledge it's a part of it, which is a bit where I was at, right?
Yeah, it's like you gotta. It's like it's a thing that you got to do, and so you just do. And what annoys me though is when you it's kind of like it's the bit of it that I hate the most. And then you get the Twittery people go, "Oh, he's just interested in getting his face all over stuff." No, I'm literally not interested in getting my face over anything at all. But it's part of what you have to do. So. You do. You just kind of gotta.
I used to wish that I'd been born a gay male, and then I could have been a drag queen, because that would be my perfect. I used to think, because I'm a show pony, right? So I could get up and do my show pony, and then not be identified the next day when I'm sitting in a cafe. Well, that was my, that used to be my teen logic in the 80s.
Well, and my teen logic was that's about writing books. I thought, you write a book, and you can. No one ever knows who you are. And then I got into telly and ended up being the presenter guy on telly, which is the most public bit of telly.
Yeah. So you've covered a huge wide range of topics in your career. Do you have a favourite?
Yes. Well, I mean, lots really. I mean, the science show we got to blow stuff up was just awesome, good fun. Oh. So just from pure self-interest, that was like hooting good fun.
Yeah.
So I have got to do some really fun stuff, but there are things that I get quite passionate about that sort of wind me up a lot. We made an alcohol documentary a few years ago. That whole thing winds me up. I think recently there's Otago University just did a big study that looked at they compared 30 drugs, illegal and illegal in New Zealand, to look at harm. So this was a dose-for-dose comparison, right? The worst drug, dose for dose, is alcohol.
Yeah.
If you want to harm reduce your drinking, have a drink of alcohol and then have some pee, because it's second. That's number 2. So cannabis, that everyone went, oh my God, we can't decriminalise cannabis. That was number, I think, 14, like it was halfway down. MDMA was about number 8. Mushrooms are way down. So it's like, if you want to stop the gang problem, just give all the gangs MDMA and they won't fight. They'll just dance and talk about how much.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff winds me up. It's like and I drink alcohol. Like I like a margarita. Don't get me wrong. So that kind of stuff winds me up. And the crime and rehabilitation stuff. Just if anything makes me yell at the tally, it's that.
And is there something that you haven't done that you wished or you want to do? A topic or
Well, yeah, it's a weird one, but I have no idea how to make it. I'd like to make a documentary about bureaucracy. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that bureaucracy is an interesting thing. So, like years ago when we interviewed you for the Parliament documentary, you're walking around that building and you're talking to politicians down there, and I guess the thing that I think the thing that we don't get, because we just see the arguing in the House stuff, is like, it was just working really hard. It was working long hours. You go to some of the select committees and it's people from different parties asking sensible questions, trying to come to a solution about stuff. So you kind of have people there who go there, and people have different views about how to solve the problem, but everybody wants to solve the problem. And then you have the coalface people who want to do stuff. And then in the middle, you have this thing, this big bureaucracy in the public service. And what happens, and all the people who work in the public service are there for the same reason. Like, no one thinks, right, I want to go and just, basically just make New Zealand a terrible place to live. I'm going to join the public service and make everything hard. But what you get is a big system where things just die a death and everything takes forever. And the culture of bureaucracy is kind of set up in a way that it slows everything down. And I was quite hopeful after COVID that we would be able to speed things up because there were some things happening.
Yeah, we did.
I did like some really amazing stuff really quickly, and now we're just back to the...
But people don't understand it, as you know, which is why you need to do the series on it. And it really struck me when I left Parliament and, got back into the real world and in Auckland. And I just used to, and it just hit me daily and smacked me in the face, was that business does not understand bureaucracy and bureaucracy does not understand business, let alone kind of the wider society and the way that it works. And I'm not sure how you make the, make them meet. I just had some of the most intelligent, successful, if you looked at it in the sort of realm of what they were doing, and they would sit there and within 3 minutes I'd think, I know exactly why you're not getting cut through. I know exactly why.
Yeah.
And then I would keep trying to tell them, I know why, and it was language, to be really honest.
Yeah.
And I could just see that they were just completely talking past each other. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It would solve a lot of problems in this country.
Yeah.
If actually we at least talked and understood, and then the progress that we could make.
And I think, the culture of the public service, there's a whole bunch of things swirling about in there that actually make it difficult for the public service to respond quickly and act quickly, because there are some laws, the unwritten laws of how that world works, which is that, basically keep everyone happy and don't upset the apple cart. And so things that should be done quickly take
You call me.
forever.
Call me when you're going to do it. I'll give you a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Don't need to do it on camera. I'll just tell you, really, I've got some fascinating things that happen that just still make me laugh with horror, to be quite blunt.
Well, there's stuff that literally just, there is stuff that just drives me completely mad. We're doing this massive reorganising our health system, yay. All we're doing is we're just going to reshuffle it, because about every 20 years we go, regions haven't worked, let's bring it back in. And so we have this idea that if we just reshuffle things, it'll somehow fix it. But we're not changing the fundamental stuff, which is the culture stuff. So people in there just reapply for different roles and nothing changes.
It's crazy. Do you find society at the moment really interesting? I mean, even driving here to do this interview with you, and I was listening to ZB, and and they were just sort of talking about the economy, and then they were just talking about how kind of grumpy everyone is, and we all notice it. It just feels like it's been, a really sort of not just a tough year, but it feels like it's all accumulated to being a bit harder this year.
I mean, I think so. I mean, I think that everyone's sort of nervous systems have had a thorough jangling coming off the back of COVID and lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. And then we have, everything else that's happened. And kind of the world's taken this weird turn too, because you basically, you can't, it's difficult to have a nuanced conversation about something, because you're either basically for everything, in which case you're woke, or you're against it, in which case you're Jordan Peterson. And so there's no middle ground. Like, you can't say, well, actually, I'm generally supportive of this, but, because then everybody starts yelling and banging on drums, and they're either calling you woke or Jordan Peterson. And, both things are unhelpful.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
And we're sort of, I feel even as a country, we're kind of losing some of our nuance and understanding of each other. I mean, I wrote a column a few weeks ago, which was, feeling sorry for the white guy. And I meant it, actually. I just meant, and the message it's sending to some of our sons and to some of those guys, and that the sort of privilege and the apologies they have to do in advance. And I worry about their mental health, to be really blunt about it. But as you say, you're kind of in or you're out, and there just doesn't seem to be much in between.
Yeah, and it is hard. It's because there's lots of things that white dudes, like, it's old white guys with beards who screw most things up, and I am one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like not everything, and so it's what's difficult, I think, is to find some, because as soon as you say stuff like that, the Jordan Peterson crowd go, yeah, that's right, we're all victims.
Yeah.
It's awful, it's so hard being us. No, it's not. It's like, if you want to be successful, the best thing to do is be a white middle class heterosexual man. Like, it's the best thing to do. And as soon as you say that, they'll all go, oh, you're woke, Mum D. It's like, no, it's actually just true.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I despair of a little bit, that we can't, all this kind of, and even if you use the word cancel culture, then immediately people go, oh, you're right wing, and then if you say, yeah, but there are some things that people say that are shitty and the right wing, and the right they go, oh yeah, left. It's like that's the thing that annoys me. Like, can we just not be binary? Can we have like a little thing where you can actually, you don't have to agree with everything and disagree with everything.
Yeah.
You can have an opinion, and it doesn't mean that you should get yelled at or shut down or any of those sorts of things. Like freedom of speech is kind of important, even this freedom to say dumb stuff.
Yeah. Look, I'm genuinely worried that the All Blacks might not win the World Cup, and I'm zero interest in rugby because of the country's psyche, and I feel like we're all a bit grumpier and a bit on edge at the moment. And I've just been overseas, and I was saying to someone, a rugby game could tip it. It could tip the country.
Yeah. I know. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really do sports at all, to be honest. I didn't even know if there was rugby going on.
Well, there you go.
But, yeah, look, I do think that, and you talk to anyone who's kind of front-facing, dealing with the public, like, people are grumpier and angrier, and people are going off at each other. And, we'll come right, because this is what we do. If you compare the world now to the world 100 years ago, it's better than it was 100 years ago. So this is a kind of a blip. But, yeah, it is... People are a bit tense. They're a bit cross.
Yeah, they are. Hey, a week of sunshine would tune it.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
Like really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly things do settle down and things get better most of the time.
Okay, I looked at your Instagram and you've been to some very interesting places.
Yeah, I struggle with Instagram, actually. Well, because I use it because I like to put pictures there because it's the best place for me to find stuff. But I do, one of the things I don't like about social media is like everybody puts the best bits of their life up.
Oh, yeah.
And so I sort of struggle with it a bit because I quite like putting stuff up there kind of for me because I like to see places that I've been. But also it's like... I would like to spend a year just putting up the crap, boring bits of my life.
Yeah.
You go in, it's like, it's no red loo paper. Or, the lawn guy's coming tomorrow and I have to pick up the dog poo and it's raining. Here's a picture of what dog poo looks like at 8 o'clock at night in the dark. It's really hard to find. Like, people, we don't put up all the crap, boring bits. People just put up here's me having crayfish under a mountain. It's like, shut up, I'm not having that. Having cheese on toast.
Yeah, or even, Nigel, I was preparing for a speech I was going to give on resilience, and it meant a lot to me, right? And I was a bit like, we're all feeling a bit meh at the moment, and that's okay. How do we work our way through it? And I went scrolling through my photos trying to look for one where I looked sad and a bit meh, right?
Yeah.
And they're all the freaking cheesy smiles, eh?
I know. Which is, and it's kind of, that's all fine because we all kind of do that. But it is, I think, one of the social media stuff that drives me crazy is that everyone's just putting up the best bits and no one puts up the crap bits. So... Yeah. Yeah,
well, that can be another whole segment on, how we deal with social media and the psychology of that would be something. Okay, but it is time that we get to advice and how to spot a scammer and avoid being scammed. Let's come back in a minute. Okay, Nigel Latta's new show is called You've Been Scammed, screening now on TVNZ1 and on demand at TVNZ Plus. We've had 2 episodes so far.
Yeah.
And I've watched them both. I've got to say, I was really thrilled with the second one because you know how you say that you occasionally shout? The first one I was slightly going, it's also about optimism. See, I see the best in people. And then you covered that.
Yeah. And optimism is great. Like, we need it. It's good. You need it to be optimistic. You need to be resilient. And sometimes it trips you up.
Yeah. Okay. So how prevalent are scammers in New Zealand?
Oh, I just think it's literally, it's everywhere. Like, the scale of it is astounding. And the amount of money involved is huge.
Huge, eh?
And it kind of, what I do think is kind of ironic is that we all sort of, everyone's getting so wound up about, teenagers driving cars into buildings, like, oh my God. But if you think of the scale of the problem and harm caused to, and I'm not saying those things don't cause harm and trauma to people, of course.
Yeah.
But also, people are losing millions and millions of dollars. And these are not just millionaires losing millions of dollars. These are people, losing $300 here, $50 here, $1,000 here, who can't afford to lose that
Or
money.
even the woman that you showcased, who'd saved that $100,000. I mean, she had made sacrifices and genuinely saved.
Yeah, that was her life saving.
To then be able to purchase a home, which is her dream.
Yeah, well, but we talked to this young woman who's 23 who got caught by a romance scammer, and she lost $3,000 that she's still paying off. And so it's like all of that stuff is relative, and it all causes...
And what it does for you psychologically as well, because you feel like a fool, right?
Yeah, and
it's embarrassing.
And kind of part of the reason we wanted to use a magician in the show is that fundamentally scams are about clicking on links and emails, and so it's kind of hard to turn that into... I think, how do you turn that into tally?
Yeah.
But magicians use the same techniques, the same tricks, so it's all about misdirection and using our confidence and optimism and all those sorts of things against us. And so kind of when a magician tricks us, we feel it just feels kind of delightful and fun. Also, we don't have skin in the game. We haven't lost anything. But when we get caught in scams, we feel just that much more kind of stupid and gullible and all the rest.
Hey, I did the, text came through and yes, I do want my parcel released, please.
Yeah.
And like in hindsight, like everyone would say, you look back and see the signs that I should have. Sunday afternoon, yes, I'll pay my $2.21. Yeah, here's my credit card details. And it was, thank goodness, the bank rang me literally 2 minutes later and just went, have you? And I went, yeah, no, I tried twice.
Well, but that's
so embarrassed though. No. I was so embarrassed.
But who among us has not at some point been distracted and busy or whatever, and just gone, oh yeah, that sounds good, and it's those things work because you've got a parcel coming. You think, well, maybe I do have a parcel coming, and yeah, that would be really good, and so you just put in the little thing, and it seems a really specific number. This is where they're good. They don't. We kind of have this idea that it's always gullible, greedy people that get caught in scams, and it's not, because what scammers work out is that there's an amount of money that a particular scam can sustain before it produces suspicion.
Yeah.
And so for that kind of thing, it's like it's a small amount. If it's an investment scam, then they talk about an interest rate which is high enough to be quite good, but not so high that it makes you think, hang on. And they know this stuff because they've tested it over and over. Over.
Yeah. So are most of the scammers here in New Zealand, or are they coming in from overseas?
No, they're well, most of the kind of online stuff is happening overseas, and countries like Nigeria, which are the scam capitals of the world. A large part of their economy is built on this stuff. And so, but what happens in New Zealand is that lots of people here act as money mules to transport the stuff out. Okay. And so what will happen is, and there are kind of two predominantly, people become money mules for two reasons. One, because they are greedy and they think, well, this guy's going to put 100 grand in, I'll keep 9. That's fine. Or else they'll be caught in a romance scam and their supposed boyfriend or girlfriend will say, oh, hey, look, I'm going to put some money into you. Can you send it back? And and I was talking to the cops who helped out with some sort of research for the show, and they're busy arresting a bunch of money mules at the moment. And there are older guys who are saying, I didn't do anything illegal. They just put some money in my account and I just kept a few $1,000s and sent it on. And the cops are saying, like, no, that's literally the definition of money laundering, and you're probably going to jail.
Wow.
And so people just do that stuff. They think they're being real clever. And
that romance one, it's similar because, I've had my image and name and everything used repeatedly, and mine is weight loss, right? And so it's a bit the same as the romance, right? You're vulnerable.
Yeah.
If you're overweight, you're looking, you don't feel great about yourself often, by the way, all power to you if you're feeling great.
Yep.
But yeah, those people that are kind of desperate and lonely, and they would they wrote pages about me and my the lies of my journey.
Yeah.
And that you could lose, by the way, 35 kgs in 3 weeks. And I just lost count of the number of people that contacted me. When's my product going to turn up?
Yep.
Hey, Paula, I've sent in my $500, you know.
I'm the same. I get stuff on Facebook. People, I'm apparently doing some talk on resilience somewhere. Just click on the link and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I'm really not doing that at all. But again, that's what they do. Like, it's their job because they make a lot of money out of it. So they'll scour stuff, they'll find a thing, they'll sense an opportunity, they'll create content around it. So, and we kind of showed that stuff over and over again because there is big money in it, and it is easy for them to create stuff online that looks close enough to the real thing that most people don't look, and that's where we kind of fall over. Like we don't.
Are you worried about AI and the effect that that'll have as those scammers and the liars start getting, it's just going to improve the product, doesn't it, of what they're doing? Yeah,
because in the poor grammar and spelling always used to be a thing. That used to be a way to do it, but now it's not going to. That's if it hasn't already disappeared, it will completely disappear. Video and the audio stuff will get better too. I think Google are working on a thing where like you give it 3 seconds of someone talking and it can generate a really convincing sounding stuff. So yes, that stuff will all get better, but at the same time, the white hat people can be using that stuff for good too. So NetSafe have this fantastic chatbot they created that if you're being scammed or you think you are a scamming email, you send it to this chatbot and then it basically just engages the scammer in this ridiculous conversation and just tries to keep them engaged in a conversation as long as possible. Wow. They've wasted something like 5 years of scammers' lives on these crazy conversations.
Oh, that's fun.
I know. It's like, do you want to invest in cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
And the bot goes, yeah. And they go, right, send me a bank account. And it goes, great, but just for security, I'm going to send it one number at a time. And the scammer goes, no, you don't need to do that. You go, are you ready? 1. No, you don't need to do that. 2.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Blah, blah. Can I pay in Petra vouchers? No, you can't. Yeah. And they'll just and the cool thing is at the end of it, you get the email conversation back, so you can have a laugh.
You can laugh. Okay, we better give some advice. So, look, some of it's obvious, right? Don't give out your personal information.
Yeah, and most people have done way too, like we've all done that. Yeah, I spoke to one of our technical people who basically said all they need is your name and your date of birth, and that's enough for them to go out and start creating stuff. And how many of us have I've never done this, but you go online on Facebook and you go, happy 21st, my darling son/daughter, and it's like, okay, cool, now they've got your kid's name and their date of birth and they're kind of off. So that boat may have sailed for a lot of people, but what we can do is be way more vigilant about every other aspect of everything. So it is about you literally don't click on links in email. So I'll get emails for stuff like Dropbox or Netflix or whatever. So rather than clicking on that link to go to, say, Dropbox, I will bring up a browser myself and go to the website, go to Dropbox myself, not using their link, and log in and see the stuff. Yeah. So it's all that kind of stuff. It's knowing that the bank or the police are never going to ask you for your personal details.
Never.
They're never going to ask you to confirm a password or the little 2-factor authentication text. They're never going to ask you for that kind of stuff. And it is about being really careful to check the website address at the top. We did a phishing scam where we sent something out to a talent agency of people that we work with using a shonky Gmail address and said, oh, hey, we want to hire you for this job, but you'll have to pay for parking and we'll reimburse you. Just click on this link and put your credit card details in. They actually got a video of me going, what are you doing? But like something over half the people clicked on the link.
But by the way, I think you're quite unfair. Because you are Mr. Trustworthy.
But that's the problem, right? You see, because on the...
Well, I watched it and I was just like, oh, that's a bit unfair that Mr. Trustworthy now turns out to be the bloody
the scammer.
The scammer.
Well, you see, that's the thing. In the email that we sent out, we even misspelt my name, And it's like... And the guy said, but it had your name on it. It's like, yeah, but anyone can misspell my name and put it on a thing. And
he went, I just thought it was a typo.
Yeah. Well, and it's the way that scams work is they do make you think like you're talking to the trustworthy source. So you think that you're dealing with Netflix, or you think that you're dealing with your bank, or you think that you're dealing with Dropbox or whoever, and you're not. You're dealing with this other thing.
So that investment scam, which is... look, they're all awful, but, that is literally at times taking people's life savings. Yeah. Older people who are relying on those few dollars to get them through for the rest of their lives kind of stuff and can't earn money to get that back. And I see that they even say, would you like to meet? And, of course, we all go, no, don't we?
Yeah.
So what do we do? Should we say yes?
Yeah, you should. I would never, ever and I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just saying, as a personal choice, I would never invest any money with anyone where I couldn't go into a brick and mortar place and sit down in an office of a place that's been there for a while and talk to an actual human. I think it's different for sort of platforms like Sharesies and those kinds of things, because that has its own stuff around it. But I would never I would never Google something, go to a website and invest money in anything unless I could actually physically go to a building and sit down and talk to an actual person.
Yeah. And it's a bit like the other one I was thinking was, I'm a bit of an online shopper, but I never buy something that I'm not prepared to lose the money. I know that sounds, but you know what I mean? So I go, I'm going to pay $100 for this. I believe, obviously, and I believe that it's going to work. And to be quite frank, I haven't had a bad experience, but I've gone, can you afford to lose that $100?
Yeah.
Because you are taking a risk. Like and your parts guy I found really interesting, he goes, well, I just accept that 6 times a year.
Sometimes I'm going to get done.
And that's part of my business. I mean, he's running a business and he was prepared for that. So one bit of advice is, I agree with you. If it's investing money, I want to look someone in the eye.
It is strange that kind of as we become more technologically kind of sophisticated, and we have AI this and blah, blah, blah that, that increasingly we're going to need to rely on old school things. One of the most common things that a lot of the security people that we spoke to said is like, if there's any doubt, if there are any big red flag changes, like if the bank account changes, the person changes, ring the place, ring the number that independent of this communication that you've just got, and actually physically talk to someone and make sure they do. So it is about those really old school person-to-person human things. That's ultimately how we... And I think this is a thing for businesses too. There's a couple of things for organisations. One is there's the technical component of the security stuff, but also there is the kind of the, I guess, the psychological firewall of people in your business, so that there's a kind of a plan or some processes in place so that scammers won't get around the psychology of us. And then there's the bigger thing of how do you protect your customers and the people that you have service with? Because how do you communicate with your customers so that they will know what you will and won't ask them, and make it easy for them to contact you if they need to check stuff?
Yeah. And we're just getting so much information thrown at us.
Yeah.
All of the time.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to sift your way through it. I would get the emails I would get at least 6 a week offering me, my millions because,
I know.
that distant relative.
Yep. And I've had emails from people since the show has gone to air about who've lost, and some people have lost quite a lot of money and these sorts of things. Like it's a lot. There's a lot that's going on. It's
really quite sad, isn't it?
Yep.
So don't give out your personal information. No. If something clicks for you, stop. Yeah?
Yeah.
Think again.
Yep.
You're probably right.
Yep. No one from any business or legitimate business or bank or whoever, that no one is going to get snippy at you for wanting to verify that it is the right place. And so when we were talking to the investment scammer, the same guy that stole the money from the woman that we interviewed.
Simon, wasn't it?
Simon. Oh, yeah, Simon. When we were talking to Simon, we were kind of thinking initially like, because he sounded quite legit and he was giving us phone numbers and we looked at the website and there were things, we think, does it seem like, have we got this wrong? Like we were starting to doubt ourselves.
Wow.
And then the thing that kind of made it really clear was when he started getting snippy, once we were asking him for more stuff around age, as verifying who he was. And then it was like, well, no one's going to get snippy about that unless they're a crook. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so how are you after hosting this show? Are you a paranoid mess now and you think that everyone's out to scam you?
No, I still think that people are how they are. It's like most people are good and most things are fine. But I was always kind of quite vigilant. I'm super vigilant now. So I always had the free virus protection, the free version of the software on my laptop. So now I've got the paid scare on the dark net looking for stuff thing. I didn't have any protection on my phone. I just whatever. Now I've got that too. I'm really careful about clicking on links. I'm really careful about looking for a little padlock to know that this is the kind of a verified website. So I'm much more vigilant about all of that stuff than I was before. Yeah.
But we've also got to stay believing. And I mean, I found it during the end of my time in politics, because it was at the time where people were trying to set you up and secretly tape you, and, you know, and there's no doubt about it that I know people tried, you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of so obvious more often than not. But then I also decided that I couldn't become so paranoid that I wasn't me, you know, like, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You know,
the truth is, like, most people in the world are good.
Yeah.
You know, and we get lots of emails and stuff, and a lot of it is legitimate. Like, I get emails from actual legitimate things, and I know it's a real thing. I still am careful now about how I engage with it, but I do, and there's lots of great things about technology and all of that stuff. Lots of really good things about it. We just have to accept the fact that because humans are humans, there are people who are going to exploit that, and so, you know, the technology will continue to increase to try to protect us from that stuff, and as it does, scammers will be working at the outside of it, because fundamentally, they always need us to do something. You know, there are very few times, almost all of the scams that people get caught on, that you have to do something. You have to click a link, you have to verify something, you have to say something, you have to do something. And so they're always going to be working at the edges of technology, the bad people, and we just have to be kind of vigilant to make sure that we're not being caught out by that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for doing the program, because I do think that it's absolutely highlighting something that we've all got to be better at and be a lot more aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I really do hope that that it just does make people just really stop and think.
Yeah.
I think one of the good things about the show is you actually get to hear scammers. Like, you get to hear people like Simon David talking and hear some of the recording, because there is something, when you kind of listen to them, you go, oh man, they really do sound like
Legitimate.
Just legitimate.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought someone from my bank was a scammer the other day, and I thought, oh, this is totally a scam.
Yeah.
So, but you know, and the difference is they didn't get snippy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, this podcast has asked me anything, so this is your moment where you get to ask me something if you would like to.
So, if you had to, no one would want to, but if you had to go back into Parliament now, right? If you had to, if they said you've got to go back, you've got to pick a team. You can't pick National. You can't pick ACT, because they're like a subgroup. And anyway, so if you had to pick a team, where would you go if you couldn't pick those two?
Oh, that's interesting. Can I start my own party?
Nope.
Oh.
You gotta this team you gotta pick. You gotta go in and you gotta fight for them. You can't just go in and like you gotta be all in. So if you had to pick a team, which would it be?
Oh, which would it be? Well, see, I mean, like, there's obviously people in Labour and there's things that they do that I like. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't there be? Because we're a democracy, and actually we're not mountains apart, right? But I almost can't, because they've been my foe for so long, and so it kind of gets in your blood. But you know what I mean? Like,
I know, totally.
So it's not, like, it's literally a ridiculous psychological reason that I wouldn't, and not so much. There's, as I say, there's obviously a lot of what they do that I agree with, and you just have to be a reasonable New Zealander to kind of do that. But yeah, I kind of have that, it's literally kind of sleeping with the enemy kind of thing, when, you've kind of built this whole culture around it. Because you have to believe in yours.
Yeah.
Even if you don't 100% all the time, because no one can, right? I mean, you quite frankly, you've got a problem if you agreed, or you quite frankly, you're simple if you agree all the time. So, of course, I don't. But, my husband used to call it my cult. And it kind of had to be, because you were giving so much of your life to it. Does that make sense?
No, totally. Yeah.
So to say that you would go to something else does feel, mind you, we're seeing MPs do it recently. I suppose I'd probably go New Zealand first, because at least it would be kind of entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe it would be
when we spend
a bit interesting. I don't know.
Whenever you're kind of down there, it does strike me that in some ways, like, our political system is great, democracy is great, but it is kind of in some ways it's a terrible way to solve complex problems, because you do have to have this opposites. Like, we have these two sides and they fight with each other. And it's like, that is a really terrible way to make a decision about something complicated. What you do is, like, the disagreeing and stuff is good, but it's very difficult for I remember when the World Cup was on, and there was some bill under urgency to increase the hours that alcohol was sold.
Yeah.
And it passed like boom, like that. And I remember going around the building going, what the hell? Like all this stuff, you guys, and this is the thing. Almost everybody that I spoke to from lots of different parties said, yeah, well, kind of what could we do? If we didn't, we would have been the party-pooping party, so we just kind of had to. And so it's that too, right? It's like you get trapped in the system where you have to fight sometimes for an idea that you don't believe in, and you have to do stuff because you know that actually the public are going to want it, and if they don't get it, the media are going to jump onto it. It's the same thing. It's very difficult to have a complicated conversation about complicated issues.
And then some things once you've been burned a couple of times, you just go, well, is it worth it? You know? And what I hated was that you couldn't actually even have, towards the end there, a nice public debate and as you say, a discourse about something that is genuinely interesting, because you've got to be on one side or the other. And, you know, sometimes I'd go, well, I don't know. Oh, she doesn't know. And she wants to run the country. And I'm like, no, I genuinely don't know the answer to that one. It's bloody hard.
Yeah, most things we don't know.
I'd kind of like us to be talking about it. Do I have to go in with a fixed position?
Yeah.
Or can I be part of opening the discourse and genuinely having a debate about what our population should be in 15 years' time, for example? That fascinates me.
Yeah, and can you have a fixed position and change it, and why is it a terrible thing?
Yeah.
It's like, because I believed this, and then I got information and changed my mind on the basis of that new information. So, you know, that.
I hadn't actually thought of it from that perspective before, through that lens, and actually that's a fair argument, because, I hadn't.
I would have been a terrible politician. I just would have been terrible, because I just would have been like, that's a really good point. I agree with them. I was like, that's stupid. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Hey, look, I remember doing something, and I had taken my time and I had all the advice in the world and blah, 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 and I believed in it, right? And I remember when I was on the radio and I was doing an interview, and then they said, and I said, I've got no doubt that within 12 months I'll be back on this show and saying that I need to make some changes and that I haven't got it quite right. Well, I mean, they just went absolutely off their nut at me. And I was like, but I can't have it 100% right, because it is slightly experimental. I'm giving...
It's this weird thing of everyone, like Parliament and politicians get everyone hassles them because, you couldn't run a business like you run the country. But then when politicians say stuff like that, it's like, well, yeah, it's like, I'm not sure. I don't know. This could change. Which is what a good leader sometimes does. It's like, well, I think it's this, but we could change it. I don't know. That's how you kind of run a business. You are able to be vulnerable and admit to mistakes. But for some reason, we have this weird thing that if you're a politician, you can't change your mind, and you have to be right 100% at the very beginning and know what's going to happen as a result of you making this complex change in a complex system.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Sounds like we need to talk about democracy again.
It's quite
interesting.
I actually have been trying to convince Fulton Hogan to have a stage a coup and take over for ages. Like, I think if I wake up tomorrow morning and Fulton Hogan, all their trucks are in Parliament, and they just say, look, we're doing it now, I'll be okay with that.
Okay,
like,
all right.
Have a go.
Yeah, go on. You give it a go. Okay, well, Nigel, thank you for joining us today and for the series. As I said, it is eye-opening. I think it's a must-view for everybody out there. I've been used in a scam, and I've fallen for one myself. So I just say go and watch Nigel's show if you haven't. You've been scammed. It's on TVNZ 1 on Mondays nights at 8 o'clock, or you can find it on demand at TVNZ Plus. And that's it for another episode of Ask Me Anything. You can get in touch with me by emailing askpaula@nzherald.co.nz. Feel free to send me through your questions for the podcast or any thoughts you have. Find me on Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn, but I'm not very good at getting back to everyone on time. Make sure you follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. You can read my weekly column in the Herald on Sunday. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.